Picture this. You're sitting at your desk. You've got a hot cup of tea, maybe some lo-fi music playing in the background.
Oh, yeah, a perfect setup.
Right, and you're breathing normally. On the surface, to anyone walking by, you look perfectly calm.
Totally relaxed.
But inside, your heart and your nervous system might be registering that you are in a literal war zone.
It's the ultimate modern paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, as a species, we've gotten incredibly good at masking our internal physiological chaos with this veneer of outward stillness.
Exactly. I hadn't even considered that outward stillness could completely mask internal panic until I started reading through today's material.
It's eye-opening for sure.
Welcome to the deep dive. We're pulling from a massive stack of data today, everything from clinical sleep labs to, millions of hours of biometric logs from Oxyzen smart rings.
Plus some really revealing student wellness case studies.
Right. We want to figure out what's actually happening under the hood.
And the data we're unpacking today is going to fundamentally change how you view your own energy reserves.
And your stress levels, yeah. The mission for this deep dive is to decode the invisible signals your body is sending you right this second.
Because it is always talking to you.
Always. We're going to zero in on a biological metric called heart rate variability, or HRV.
Yes.
And more importantly, we're going to discover how you can actively hack your own nervous system.
Using some very specific tools.
Right. Techniques like the 4-7-8 breathing method, which can completely transform your focus, your academic performance, and just, your long-term health.
Because before we can talk about optimizing anything, like before you can study better or work faster or even recover properly, you have to understand the biological metric that governs all of it.
Yeah, you need the baseline.
Exactly. We need to look at the one metric that tells the absolute truth, even when your conscious mind is busy lying to you.
And that metric is heart rate variability. And it's not just your heart rate, right?
No, not at all.
It's not just beats per minute. It's the microscopic millisecond variations in time between your heartbeats.
Right, the spacing between them.
The way I like to think about it is high HRV is like a professional tennis player bouncing lightly on their toes.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it.
Right. They're constantly micro-adjusting, totally fluid, ready to return absolutely any serve that comes at them.
Yeah, they're adaptable.
Exactly. But a low HRV, that's like being completely flat-footed on the court.
Yeah.
You're rigid, you're stressed, and you're just unable to adapt to the next shot.
The tennis player analogy works perfectly because it highlights that adaptability.
Yeah.
The mechanism controlling those tiny fluctuations between your heartbeats is your autonomic nervous system.
Right.
So when you have a high HRV, it basically means your parasympathetic system, which is the rest and digest side, and your sympathetic system.
The fight or flight side.
Exactly. It means those two sides are in a dynamic, healthy balance.
Yeah.
They're negotiating with each other constantly.
Like a tug of war, but a healthy one.
Yes. But when your HRV is low, it indicates your body is stuck entirely in that sympathetic fight or flight state.
So you're just redlining.
Right. Your heart beats like a rigid metronome because it's literally bracing for an imminent physical impact.
And the consequences of being stuck in that rigid metronome state are actually terrifying.
They really are.
The clinical data in our sources shows that a chronically low HRV is linked to a 40% increase in all-cause mortality.
Which is huge.
It is. And just to define that briefly for you listening, it means your overall risk of dying from absolutely any cause goes up by almost half.
It's a staggering stat. It proves that chronic stress isn't just, an abstract feeling you have in your head.
Right, it's physical.
It is a physiological, highly acidic state that actively degrades your biological systems over time.
And it happens so incredibly fast. Like, the data shows that a sudden cortisol spike...
Oh, yeah, just a quick burst of stress.
Right, like getting a passive-aggressive email from your boss or realizing you completely missed a deadline that can cause your HRV to plunge by up to 30% in mere minutes.
Just minutes.
But wait, I have to push back on this for a second.
Okay, go for it.
What if I'm doing something that I actually think is relaxing? Like, let's say I'm lying in a hot bath, I've got a candle lit, but I'm doom scrolling on social media.
Ah, the classic trap.
Right. Does my body really not know the difference between the relaxing bath and the stressful screen?
Well, this is where the evolutionary mismatch comes in.
Okay.
You might be physically submerged in warm water, but as you doom scroll through terrible news, or you're comparing your life to filtered photos online, your brain's amygdala perceives a threat.
So it ignores the bath.
Totally. It doesn't know you're in a tub.
Yeah.
It just knows it's seeing danger signals. So it dumps cortisol and adrenaline straight into your bloodstream.
Wow.
The Oxyzen ring data actually proves this. It reveals the paradox of these calming activities. Things like late-night scrolling severely tank your HRV.
So outward calm absolutely does not equal physiological relaxation.
Not at all. Your body cannot be tricked by bath salts if your mind is navigating a digital war zone.
That is wild. So what happens when someone ignores those invisible warning signs and just pushes themselves anyway?
It usually doesn't end well.
The fitness data brings up this deadlift PR scenario that honestly made me wince.
Yeah, that's a tough one to read.
You go to the gym, you're all hyped up on pre-workout and adrenaline, and you hit a personal record on your deadlift.
You feel invincible.
Exactly. But your Rings data log shows your HRV was actually at like 18 milliseconds, which is well below that critical 20 millisecond danger threshold.
And when your HRV is that low, your high performance is just a dangerous illusion.
Wow.
You're relying entirely on neuromuscular drive.
Meaning your brain is just screaming at your muscles to fire, regardless of how tired they actually are.
Exactly. Your central nervous system is sending massive electrical signals to your muscles to recruit every available fiber.
Just overriding the system.
Right, and that masks the severe systemic fatigue underneath. So if you push through that 18 millisecond warning and keep lifting heavy, your risk of a severe tendon, ligament, or muscle tear skyrockets.
Because your body is actually exhausted.
Yeah, your muscles might fire because of the adrenaline,
Yeah.
but your connective tissues are chemically and structurally just too fatigued to support the sheer mechanical load.
Okay, so if pushing through a low HRV leads straight to a torn ligament or, I guess in the workplace, total burnout,
Oh, absolutely. Same mechanism.
how do we actually hit the brakes? Like, if I see my HRV is in the gutter and I'm taking a deload week from the gym to protect myself, what's the active step I take?
You need a biological override switch
Okay, let's unpack this.
because you can't just sit on the couch and hope the stress dissipates.
Yeah.
You have to actively force the nervous system to shift gears.
And this brings us to active recovery. According to our research, one of the ultimate tools for a deload week is the 4-7-8 breathing hack.
Yes, highly recommended for boosting the parasympathetic nervous system.
Exactly. It promotes rest and repair, and it actively safeguards your body against the potential injuries we just talked about.
It's incredibly effective.
Now, a quick note for you listening. While the sources highly recommend using this technique to lower stress and improve your HRV, they didn't actually explain the exact steps on how to perform it.
Right, they just say to do it.
Yeah. So please note that the following instructions are from outside of your given sources today, and you might want to independently verify this information, but it is a very established method.
Definitely. It's a cornerstone of breath work.
Right. So the 4-7-8 method is this structured breathing pattern. First, you inhale quietly through your nose for 4 seconds.
Nice and steady.
Then you hold your breath for 7 seconds.
Yep.
And finally, you exhale completely through your mouth, often making this gentle whoosh sound for 8 full seconds.
That whoosh is key. The underlying mechanics of that rhythm are what make it so powerful.
How so?
Well, when you extend the exhale to be twice as long as the inhale, that 8-second whoosh, you're literally changing the pressure in your chest cavity.
Hold on, so that physical pressure change in my chest is what actually massages the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve being that massive information highway running from the brainstem all the way down to the gut, right?
Spot on. The vagus nerve is the primary control center for your parasympathetic nervous system.
The rest and digest side.
Right. When you do that long exhale, the pressure change signals the baroreceptors in your heart to basically tell your brain to slow things down.
Oh, wow.
And that 7-second breath hold, it actually allows carbon dioxide to build up just slightly in your bloodstream.
Which does what?
It triggers vasodilation. Your blood vessels widen, which improves blood flow and drops your blood pressure almost immediately.
So you are mechanically forcing your body out of that rigid sympathetic fight or flight state.
You're pulling the emergency brake.
Right. You're flooding your system with signals to rest and repair. So just breathing differently can instantly change my biomarkers. What else can do this?
Well, it acts as an immediate systemic reset, right?
Yeah.
But the data on other rapid biological hacks is just as fascinating.
Okay, lay it on me.
Take hydration, for example. The clinical research shows that drinking just 16 ounces of water can boost your HRV by 6 milliseconds in exactly 10 minutes.
Wait, really? Is that just like a plumbing issue?
Basically, yeah.
Like if I'm mildly dehydrated, my blood actually gets thicker, so my heart has to panic and pump harder to move it around?
That is essentially it.
Yeah.
When your blood volume drops due to dehydration, your cardiac output decreases.
Okay.
To compensate
Mhm.
and to keep oxygen flowing to your brain, your nervous system kicks into sympathetic overdrive.
Raising your heart rate and tanking your HRV.
Exactly. By drinking that water, you rapidly restore blood volume. The plumbing flows easily, the heart doesn't have to work as hard, and the nervous system instantly relaxes.
That makes so much sense.
It's amazing how simple it is.
And there's another hack in the data that's incredibly simple but so powerful. A 5-second gratitude reflection.
Yes.
Just pausing to feel genuinely grateful for 5 seconds can spike your HRV by 4 milliseconds.
Which is a beautiful demonstration of neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
Your brain and your nervous system adapt rapidly to chemical changes brought on by positive mental states.
Right.
For someone just starting out, a quick gratitude practice actually elevates HRV faster and more effectively in the moment than, trying to force yourself through weeks of unstructured meditation.
Okay, so let's say I'm using the 4-7-8 breathing to fix my HRV. I'm drinking my water, I'm doing my gratitude.
Check, check, and check.
Right? But to even know my HRV is tanking in the first place, I have to look at my biometric data.
And usually that means looking at a smartwatch.
Exactly. And honestly, every time I look at my wrist to check my stress levels, seeing 5 unread texts and a calendar reminder just stresses me out more.
It's counterproductive. The tool you use to manage your distraction becomes the very source of your distraction.
Yeah.
It's a huge issue, especially when dealing with cognitive strain, like for students trying to focus.
Let's talk about that because we know HRV tracking and 4-7-8 breathing can save our physical bodies, but how do we apply this to cognitive strain?
It's tricky.
The student case studies highlight this perfectly. They set up this whole contrast between smartwatches and smart rings.
They're completely different approaches.
Right. Smartwatches are essentially conductors. They manage the external noise, your texts, your emails, but they require constant active attention.
Right.
Smart rings, on the other hand, act as silent biometric guardians. They passively observe your internal system without demanding anything from you.
And we can see the mechanical cost of that attention requirement in the case study of the student named Alex.
Yes, the midterm week scenario.
Right. So Alex is in the middle of midterm week. He's deep in a flow state in the library, studying incredibly complex material.
Totally dialed in.
And suddenly, his smartwatch buzzes on his wrist. It's an automated notification about a grade posting.
And he doesn't even look at it, right? He just feels the vibration.
Right, but the physiological damage to his focus is already done.
From a single buzz.
Yes. That single vibration triggers a microscopic hit of dopamine and cortisol. It breaks his cognitive flow. The research on task switching shows it takes the human brain upwards of 20 minutes to deeply re-engage with complex reading after a micro-interruption like that.
20 minutes just to get back to where he was.
Exactly. The smartwatch gives the illusion of efficiency. You feel like you're staying connected, but it is actively diluting your mental performance. Every buzz fragments your attention.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This is what makes screen-free wearables like the Oxyzen ring so compelling.
They literally cannot buzz.
Right. They have 0 screens and no notifications. Instead of interrupting you to tell you how stressed you are, they turn your focus into a measurable metric.
It's entirely passive.
They passively track how physiologically settled a student is during, say, a 2-hour lecture or a deep study block without ever breaking their focus.
And we really have to factor in the practical friction of keeping these devices alive.
Oh, the charging issue.
Yeah. Smartwatches typically die in 18 to 36 hours. And when do they usually die?
Right in the middle of an all-nighter.
Exactly. Right when a student is pulling an all-nighter, which is the exact moment when tracking the physiological cost of sleep deprivation is most critical.
You lose the data right when you are causing the most damage to your body.
It's a huge blind spot. Smart rings, conversely, last 5 to 7 days on a single charge.
That's a big difference.
You take it off once a week, it charges silently on a nightstand dock, and you put it back on. It completely removes the cognitive bandwidth required to babysit the device.
Right.
You aren't managing the tech. The tech is just feeding into the background.
Okay, so daytime focus and avoiding those micro-interruptions is how you acquire knowledge.
Yes.
But the clinical sleep data in these sources shows that your sleep architecture is how you actually keep that knowledge.
Sleep is not just a passive state of unconsciousness.
Right.
It is a highly active, sequential biological process. For a student, or really anyone doing knowledge work, understanding the specific architecture of your sleep stages is the key.
So break that down for us.
Sure. First, you have deep sleep, which is also known as slow wave sleep. This stage is absolutely essential for declarative memory.
Declarative memory meaning the actual hard facts, like the dates, the formulas, the vocabulary.
Yes, exactly. During deep sleep, your brain is actually clearing out metabolic waste through the glymphatic system, while simultaneously moving the facts and figures you learned from short-term storage in the hippocampus.
To long-term storage in the cortex.
You got it. It cements them in.
So, without enough deep sleep, your brain is essentially like a computer saving files to a corrupted hard drive.
That is painfully accurate.
You did all the work studying, you put the time in, but when you sit down for the midterm and try to pull the file up, the folder is completely empty.
The data is gone. And then, following deep sleep, you move into REM sleep, rapid eye movement.
Okay, what does REM do?
REM is the engine for procedural memory. It's how you learn the physical steps of a lab technique, or even a garf swing. But more importantly for knowledge workers, REM sleep is where your brain engages in pattern recognition and creative problem solving.
Connecting the dots.
Exactly. Connects the disparate ideas you learned during the day.
Okay, so if I'm a student and I have my biometric data showing me exactly how much deep sleep and REM sleep I got,
Right.
how do I actually use this alongside that 4-7-8 breathing technique to get better grades? How do I translate biological data into long-term academic performance?
Well, it requires a massive behavioral shift away from the traditional, rigid academic schedule.
Okay.
You have to adopt what the researchers call a readiness-based lifestyle.
A readiness-based lifestyle. What does that actually look like in practice?
It means letting your underlying physiology dictate your daily workflow.
Oh.
You wake up, you check your biometric data. If your ring shows a high readiness score, say 75 or above it, means you got adequate deep sleep, your HRV is balanced, and your nervous system is primed.
You're good to go.
Right. That is the day you tackle your absolute hardest problem sets. You write the introduction to your thesis. You do the heavy cognitive lifting.
Because your brain is biologically capable of handling the load. But what if I wake up and my score is in the red? Say my HRV is tanked, my sleep was terrible, and my readiness is sitting at like a 45.
That's where the strategy completely changes.
Okay.
A traditional student might see they're exhausted, slam 3 cups of coffee, and try to cram anyway.
Oh yeah, been there.
We all have.
Ah.
But we know from the biology that cramming spikes cortisol, which actively blocks memory consolidation.
So it's basically pointless.
It leads to the classic cram and crash.
Hmm.
You learn nothing, you forget what you did know, and you severely compromise your immune system.
So what's the alternative? Do you just do nothing?
In a readiness-based lifestyle, a low score means you intentionally pivot.
Okay.
You handle lighter administrative tasks. You organize your notes. And more importantly, you use the 4-7-8 breathing technique we talked about earlier.
The inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8.
Exactly. You use that to intentionally downregulate your nervous system. You engage in active recovery. You take a 20-minute nap.
You're giving yourself permission to rest because the biometric data proves that resting is actually the most productive, academically sound thing you can do in that specific moment.
Precisely. You are preserving your long-term academic performance and protecting your mental health by refusing to dig a deeper hole when your body is already chemically exhausted.
We've covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have.
We started by looking at how your body registers stress and panic long before your conscious mind ever realizes it's happening.
HRV is the ultimate biological truth teller.
It completely cuts through the illusion of the doom-scrolling bath.
It really does.
And we explored the mechanics of how you can take control of that metric by utilizing active recovery tools like the 4-7-8 whoosh breathing technique to massage the vagus nerve.
Yep. Hitting the brakes.
Right. And by prioritizing invisible, screen-free technology to protect your fragile cognitive flow and deeply respecting the architecture of your own sleep, you can truly master your energy output.
It's all about working with your biology instead of constantly fighting a war against it.
Exactly. But I want to leave you with one final provocative thought, pulled from the research on the future of wearables in education.
This part is wild.
It is. We just spent all this time talking about managing your own personal data. But imagine a near future where your biometric ring connects directly to your university's or your company's learning management system.
The institutional implications there are just massive.
Right. What if, during a brutal midterm week, your body showed a dangerous, sustained drop in HRV and severe sleep deprivation?
Like a readiness score of 30.
Yeah. And instead of you having to go to a professor's office and beg for an extension, your syllabus automatically paused your video lectures.
Wow.
What if the software automatically extended your assignment deadlines to force you to recover because the data definitively proved you were biologically incapable of learning in that state?
Could data-driven empathy be the future of our educational institutions?
It makes you wonder what a system designed around human biology would actually look like.
It really does.
The next time you're sitting perfectly still at your desk, sipping your tea, ask yourself, is your nervous system genuinely resting or is it secretly fighting a war? Until next time, keep diving deep.